I'd like to call the meeting to order. The February 23rd meeting of the Wareham Sewer Commissioners. And have a roll call.
Malcolm White, present.
Peter Dunlop, present.
Sandy Slavin here.
Jim Gibberti here. Okay, we have no minutes. Them has had a family emergency, so she's out for a while. I'm sorry, go ahead,
All
Sandy.
right, Jim, I asked the missing minutes be added to the agenda. They were not, so please make the go on the next agenda.
Will do. Yeah, I saw that afterwards. The policy reviews and what we had here was a list of 8 items that the selectmen, when they were sewer commissioners, passed some policies. And as the selectmen today, not being sewer commissioners, they rescinded all those policies. And I've been over all of them, and the ones that they've rescinded, I think we should just revote. It's everything that we're going to have anyhow and should have, but just to reestablish the fact that they're there. Unless somebody else has an issue on it, or
You want to brush on just which ones they are, Jim, just real quick?
okay, let's do it. One is a residential connection to sewer. This was from '99. It's a policy on the residential connections, policy to connect homes and businesses to gravity mains, residential connections to force mains, and a policy on commercial and industrial connections to the sewer force mains. Next one I have is to connect homes and businesses to gravity mains. This is a duplication here, okay. Hold it 1 second here, 1 second, bear with me. Okay, there we go. Okay, this is policy to enter into for connecting the homes and businesses to gravity mains. Oops, that was the wrong one. Yes.
4,000 is for the free one. Is a recharge.
And they would pay $8,000 for the whole system, $300. We get it fixed and put down stuff to sell. Take the money and go somewhere from months and far the rent. We stay there.
I think he muted himself, Peter.
Say what?
I think Jimmy muted himself. Unmute Jim. Can't
There we
hear-
go. Sorry about that. There we go. I
Hi.
don't know how I did that, but I did it.
You did
Jimmy,
it.
are we talking about policy 1, 2, 3, 8, and 9? They were all the different connections?
I'm reading off the list, the way that was submitted to us. I'm going just down the list. And
Jimmy, is there a chance they can be sent to us as adjusted that we asked for? Because we haven't seen if the corrections have been made that we asked for.
there's been no changes to it. I mean, the policies.
Well, then I'm not going to approve them because we had made
All
changes
right,
at a
okay,
prior
I
meeting.
heard you the first time.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, there's been no changes in the numbering. I've discussed this with Peter and I'd like to sit down with him and we'll go through the numbering. We went through some of these, a couple of years ago. But I think it all needs to be brought up to date on where we are and along with our book to make sure the book agrees with everything that's here. The other items that are on this list right at the moment is the designation of agent for sewer connection, which is Guy, the Wareham sewer policy, and the fog control program. All of these items are as they are, as what we have and what we've accepted and what we've done. These items that we're looking at right now are ones that the selectmen have eliminated. And that's primarily because they're no longer sewer commissioners. And the only suggestion I'm making here is that perhaps we should just reinstate these as, or reaffirm the fact that we have them. They are in effect and we're using them at the present time. We're not making any changes to these at the moment. And we'll follow up on Sandy's comment and we'll basically go through and get these all renumbered and in line so that everybody is talking about the same one at the same time.
on the January 26th meeting, we discussed them and said that corrections were needed.
Okay, so what do you want to do, Jim? Reinstate them till we can look at them?
That's what I just assume do, to get them out of here and get them into where they belong.
And make a note of Sandy's concern that we have to review them.
Yep.
You want to take like one or two a night
Uh,
over the next,
Probably the simplest, well, I think that do it two ways. I'd like to basically go through the whole package and put them in an order, number them, and then go through them, then one or two or three of, get everybody to have them to go over them. But right now, just to get them organized, because they're not really organized the way we want them.
yeah, I mean, because if I had a couple in front of me that I could read,
Right,
we could make a decision on it. I know what
Right.
Sandy's saying, but we can't. But let's keep them in place, right?
Yep.
Pending further review. So is that the motion?
sounds good to me.
So we're going to continue to enforce these policies pending further review
Yes,
for updating. And it would probably just comment, we should probably start that next meeting.
yeah.
Start the review, pick one or two, whatever you want to do.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sandy?
Opposed?
Okay. 3, 4, 1, 0. 310, okay. And we've got an agreement for Professional services, a design agreement on the clarifier and headworks upgrade. This is GHD. And this is Russ and or Mark.
Yeah, I could give a brief overview. So this is a professional services agreement for work associated with the fall of 22 articles, number 15 and 16. It has to do with the design phase services of the clarifier and headworks upgrades at the WPCF. It's a value of $3.2 million, which falls within the total appropriation for the two articles, which are $4 million.
Okay. Comments, questions, anyone?
Is there anything we can read?
It's in the packet.
Well, I've gone through the packet.
I believe it's the agreement for professional services.
Has anybody, has Bowen reviewed it?
If I could add in, Mr.
Yep.
Chairman, yes, the agreed upon language with the town's attorney has been implemented into this agreement. That was agreed upon, I believe it was 2 agreements ago, but yes, this has been reviewed.
Mac, Peter,
Which one are we talking about now, Jimmy?
the agreement for professional services.
But I have 2 of them from GHG here. You are talking about doing them together?
No,
Okay, well, which one are we speaking on?
this is the one for the headworks and the clarifiers.
Okay.
I believe it's only one agreement should be in the
Yeah,
package.
that's
Perhaps the other item might be
Mhm.
looking at, might be the next item on the agenda, maybe.
Right, that is. Yeah, the next
So-
item is a change order.
So in the packet, the agreement for professional services follows the change order.
Well, if it does, it does. As far as the agenda is concerned, the professional services design is B.
Trying to let Peter know where it is in the document.
Okay,
Should be roughly 16 total pages.
right. Did you find it, Peter?
Yes.
Okay. Same. Anybody have any issues on this, questions further?
So this cost 3.2 million?
That's
Yes.
the number he
That's
just,
the-
Not to exceed 3.2 million.
Correct.
How much did we get approved?
4?
4 million.
So this is a combination of 2 million for the headworks and 2 million for the clarifiers, all part in this one agreement?
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay, any other questions? I have a motion to do something with this.
I believe Commissioner White, if you're trying to say something, I don't think your audio's.
No, I don't have any questions on it. It's all boiled.
Hey, can I?
I'm
Get a
trying to
motion.
find the date, Jimmy. I'm trying to find the date. Is there a date on this agreement?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking at the agreement. No, we would ask that you, Mark, go ahead.
When it's signed, it would be dated. There's an effective date that's blank on the cover. but that when the town signs it, it could be filled in.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement for professional services for not to exceed 3.2 million for the secondary clarifier in Headworks.
Second,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 4-0.
Jimmy, you need to do a roll call since we're on Zoom.
Oh, that's right too. Peter,
Yes.
Jim, yes. Mac,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes,
4-0-0. Okay, next, Ritter. We have a change order.
Mr. Chairman, if I may
Yes,
present it? Okay, wonderful, thank you.
go ahead.
So this item is, it's being presented for approval. Change order number 3 for the contract 2021-WW-01, the current ongoing WPCF construction project. This change order has been reviewed and approved by GHG and reviewed with Mr. Campina. It includes minor items due to existing conditions during construction, but approximately 80% of this change order is for the replacement of the plant water system, an urgent repair that is being conducted under this current construction project. And I believe you have the change order with all the pertinent attachments, approximately 88 pages in your packet.
Makes nice evening reading.
hey, Jimmy, how are we going to fund this?
That's a good question. Guy, do you have any answers on that?
Mr. Chairman or Guy, if I may.
Go ahead.
Also, this change order, so the SRF loan for this project includes a budgeted construction contingency in the amount of $439,894, which is equivalent to 5% of the construction value. And so that SRF loan that is already approved includes that. And so this would comprise about 3.88% of that 5%. So there's still, so it's all part of the SRF loan.
Okay. Now, what is the plant water system exactly? You know,
Yep, the plant water system is comprised of a skid with 3 pumps, 2 of which have failed. It also includes control panel, piping, and valves, and the entire skid in its entirety, since 2 of the pumps have failed, and it's critical to functioning of most of the processes at the facility. So does that answer your question, Mr. Chairman?
sort of.
If I might, could I add one thing to that? What the system does is it takes treated water at the end of the plant, and the plant uses it for different uses to save on having to use potable water. So it takes it uses recycled water or plant water for various uses throughout the facility.
Okay. That sounds interesting. So the funding is already taken care of within the SRF.
Correct.
Any other questions?
No, I following, I can see the breakdown, so.
Peter, Sandy?
So we should see a reduction in our water bill.
No, I don't
The
think so.
currently the plant water system is used, this recycled water that Mr. Drainville spoke about is used currently. However, this process, if it were to fail and not be replaced, then you would see an increase in requiring potable water, which is quite costly. So this is preventing that from happening.
Yeah, and I can just add, I believe this has happened in the past where the town had to use town water for various uses at the expense of the going rate for town water. So correct, theoretically, it would prevent this from happening in the future.
So it's expected that this correction, this repair will be done by April 28th?
It is, yes, that is currently the anticipated schedule.
Have you done any work?
Yes, the plant water skid has been ordered and has been shipped at this point. And if there's a contract extension time required, that will be presented in a time extension change order at a future date, which is not anticipated at this time.
So this change order is within the 5% contingency?
That is correct.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve change order number 3 for contract 2021 WW01 in the amount of $340,400, $665. 340,665.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mac, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a question?
Yes.
Does Derek have to approve this change order?
Once this,
Derek will approve it. He asked us to send it to you for approval.
Yep.
Once it's approved, he'll approve it.
And they'll
He has
approve it.
been involved in the whole step. He was actually at the meeting when it was presented, and he has his input. So once it's approved, he will.
Okay. We have a roll call. Peter,
Yes.
Mac,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
and Jim, yes. We have, I don't know if you all have it and can see it, either in packet or online. The construction report. The summary report of the construction activities. With all kinds of pretty pictures.
and Mr. Chairman, if I may just give a short couple
Please do.
sentence summary. So you have in your packets attached a series of construction summaries to tell the story, if you will, of the activities and the level of completion at this point and at this stage. We have the installation of the new equalization basin, number 5, including its covers, mixers, pumps, and the startup of the control panel that operates that system and operates those pumps is currently underway, as well as construction of 3 new denitrification filters, which is the second component of this current construction project. The same contract number 2021-WW-01. And the 3 new denitrification filters, number 4 through 6, including a new pipe gallery to connect the system to the existing and stair access way and electrical room with a new control panel. The new filters are at this point online and operating in automatic mode. And final payment is April 28th of this year.
And it's going to do all kinds of wonderful things for us when it's completed.
Indeed, the additional denitrification filters are helping to process the wastewater after it leaves the secondary clarifiers to remove solids as well as nitrogen to help maintain permit. And the equalization basin with a cover will be used on a daily basis to help provide some further odor management.
Thank you. Mac, Peter?
I'm looking at the pictures on the other screen.
All in color. Okay. Anybody has any questions or comments to make?
Oh, looks
How
good.
come there's only one chair at the table?
Which one are you looking at?
Equalization basin number 5, the odor control cover.
Sorry, what's the question?
How come there's only one chair at the table?
Oh, a chair? Apologies. Which monthly report are you referring to?
July 27th, 2022.
Thank you for directing me to that. Yes. That has, at this point, has been removed because it's been replaced with a control panel. So there will
Now
be no
there's
more
no
sitting.
change.
Correct. There will be no more sitting at a table by one person or any, and now there's a control panel to operate the pumps.
Just so we're even.
Good eye. I had to zoom in quite a bit on that photo.
I see that. Okay, I see what you're talking
That
about.
whole basin is covered, huh?
Correct. Yes.
That's pretty good.
But they're gonna go back and check the serial and see if they have a warranty. You can also maybe it's a two if you want to cut the payments down. But I don't know what the interest costs will be.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll fix it. Hopefully, see it.
all right, any other questions on the activities report here? Okay, if not, we will kind of move along. We have an update on not connected properties. It looks like it's not a lot different. There's I got a couple here.
When was this, sorry, when was this last updated?
For this
Guy, you'll have to tell us that. I don't know when you did this last.
for this meeting, done this week. She ran this, I think, Monday or Tuesday after she talked to you, Jim.
Oh, okay. All right, we've got,
Now, Guy, I have a question for you. Not connected to town sewer or vacant lots not connected, is that based on stubs being installed? Or
Correct.
is it based on betterments being paid?
Correct. To
Well,
get a
which
betterment, you have to have a lateral installed. Well, a lateral equals a betterment. So you asked me if there's laterals, yes. You asked me betterment, yes. You can pick one.
Okay,
We don't better
So-
if we don't put a lateral.
so this is all the projects for Hamilton, Swiss Beach, Oakdale, etc. How come I don't see 17 Murphy Street? My concern is that we're looking at this list for their potential flow should they connect. I just had 3 projects come before conservation. 2 are not listed here, but they're going to connect to sewer.
Well, in Murphy Street specific, you got to go back to 1978, and that's when that was included. There used to be a building there, so it was included in 1978, which will not be on this list because these are the most recent projects.
No, why isn't it on the list as a vacant lot not connected?
17 Murphy?
Yes,
17 Murphy used to have a house on it. So it's not,
I-
and so when we sewered it back in 1978, then it's just where the house went away, the lateral's still there. We don't make note of that. When someone comes forward to build it, we go back in the records and find out that, yes, it was sewered. So therefore there is a lateral, so you can build on it because the lateral exists. The gallons were accounted for in 1978.
Okay, now there's a property on Johnston Street. I think 3 Johnston.
And
I
that'll have
don't
a
see,
grinder pump.
I don't see that property listed.
That's probably an oversight. That property was approved by a letter from the sewer commissioners, and if it didn't get added to this list, it was certainly oversight, but that was included on the approval of the board.
It was not,
I forget,
it was not approved, but it was not approved by the board. There was a series of letters going back between you and Jimmy asked you if this was included in the Oakdale flowage. I never saw a response. My concern is
Yes, it
how
was.
many more,
I don't know.
How many
Sandy,
more-
that's a
sorry.
good question. I can't answer that question because it's a very good question. They
I'm
pop up.
just, okay, how many more properties with laterals that have not connected and are not on this list? Because that's 330 gallons per day.
I can't
that we're
answer the
not
question. I'm
accounting
sure
for.
there's some in Onset. I'm sure there's some in Onset. I'm sure there's some in, all the areas that we sewer it. I'm sure there's some in Indian Mountain Beach. I don't have that list. I wasn't involved in putting those lists together. I wasn't involved in those projects. I would have to do some research and have them look and go through all the records and see if they can figure it out, but they
Okay.
pop up. All of a sudden, we get
Okay.
a letter presented and we act upon it. So I can't answer that question.
So what I'm hearing is, yes, Sandy, there could very well be properties that will be sewered that are not included in this, have not connected list.
That's correct, but
Okay, thank you.
what I'm,
That's,
yes, and also, yes, and also they're probably already included in the flow because we've approved onset, et cetera, but you are right. There's some that can come forward that we're unaware of.
thank you.
There's one next to the, okay, because there's one next to onset post office that just came up, but there used to be a barber shop there, probably well before my time, or I don't remember the barber shop, but it had a lateral, so that becomes buildable and they're trying to do that.
That would have already been included in your flows.
That's correct.
That's what I thought. Okay. So some of these that are not identified at the present time may have been identified previously and would have been included in the flows.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions,
You're welcome.
anybody? Mac, Peter? We've got an article for town meeting that needs to be revoted, first of all. To use retained earnings of $6 million for the engineering costs.
Now, to clarify, we have been confirmed that we have over $11 million in retained earning, which is now why it's available for these 3 projects for 6 million. It was not available when we asked for the 3 separate warrant articles at last town meeting.
We did not have certified cash.
That
So
is
we-
correct.
We did not know what we had for retained earnings accurately. So,
Which is why we went with the borrowing. Now we don't need to borrow anymore. So the motion, unless someone wants to comment, I make a motion that we rescind the 3 $2 million engineering borrowing articles, replace it with 1 $6 million article with funds coming from certified retained earnings.
I'll second that. And thank you for clarifying that, Sandy.
we got a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Mac?
Aye. Yes.
Andy,
Aye.
And Jim, aye. Okay, we're gonna rescind those three articles and go to retained earnings, rescind the borrowing articles and go to retained earnings for the money.
Now, I've sent out copies of two possible sets of articles. Mr. Sullivan will tweak it to come to what we want to do. So I've not seen what the tweaked article or articles look like, but you've seen the direction that I took. Rescinding each of the three articles separately and then doing one article to borrow, to get from retained earnings. Or I wrote it all in one article, so Mr. Sullivan will decide the best method of presenting that to town meeting.
I'm not worried about it.
No, I like your one article. Combine it all together. Okay, that's done, that's done.
That
Now we
vote
got-
was 400.
Yes, it was. So we have Damien's Pantry as a request for a daily flow of 250 gallons.
We approved this September 29th, 22.
They have just,
No, look at the date of that request. That's back, that dates back in August and September.
right,
I
Nope.
thought it was subject to flow according to the engineer, but if it's approved, then it's no sense in moving it forward. I'll just tell them it's approved.
okay.
Well, it's put on our look at our pending list. They can't connect because we don't have flow, but we did put it, we approved 2640 for the car wash on September 29th, 22.
I understand. I sent the flow memo presented by GHD and Mark can address it. They say that we have 50,000 gallons per day available. And so I'm moving these forward because the gallons are available and Mark's here to present that. I did send the article to the board through your email, but he can present that for you so that we can make a decision to move these projects forward because the gallons become available.
Okay, we now have to look your email from this morning for available gallons. I need to look at that.
That's fine. That's why I had the engineers here. They could explain to you, but that's fine.
And apologies, Mark did log off, but this is Russ. I can answer any
Okay.
questions that come up regarding that.
Guy, I don't see 2640 being available.
2640, that's the gallonage available.
So that's the car wash. You said we have
Yeah,
have-
so that
600 gallons available.
if I may, yeah, the
Okay.
memorandum you're looking at, that flow memorandum, it was developed a few years ago and updated a few times. The reason why that was developed was because back in 2018, when we had the overflows and we had a lot of development coming in, the town didn't have any sort of a comprehensive plan. They had some vulnerabilities at the treatment facility, so we had to come up with some document to identify the current condition of the plant. And that's what triggered the moratorium, right? We had all this flow coming in, a lot of commitments, high groundwater. Well, since that time, the town has done a lot of good improvements. We have initiated the comprehensive wastewater management plan. We've installed additional equalization basins, the covered basin, additional denitrification filters. And plus, we're confident that looking at historic trends at the plant, that this year the flow is down and you're under that 80%. So while that is a line indeed in the sand, the fact is you're below it. We have made improvements. We have a comprehensive wastewater management plan that will likely be completed within 6 months to a year that will further identify in detail flows and things coming up. So as the engineering firm that recommended a moratorium, we feel comfortable in recommending an additional 50,000 gallons because the town has made these improvements. We have a plan in place. And then once the CWMP is released, that will further explain the path moving forward. You'll have a series of options and, the associated costs. And that process is a very heavily involved public input, commissioner input, staff input process. So I guess what my proposal, what I'm saying is the document in front of you, what I'd recommend having is just an active project list. That's a living, we got caught up with some terminology, queue, committed. It's just all the projects coming down. Call it one thing, committed makes it easier. But if it's these individual homes or small properties, it would fall well within that additional 50,000 gallons that we feel comfortable granting.
Wait. I need you to go back for a minute.
Sure.
We put a moratorium because we had overcommitted. Then we started a list of saying, okay, once we get some gallons, you'll be given yours. Are you now telling me we have gallons available to give out and we no longer have a moratorium?
No, we're saying we can allow up to another 50,000 gallons. And that overcommitment was also due to the higher flows at the plant when the report was originally generated. Now, after a year or two of information with lower flows, we feel confident enough to say, okay, you're not going to get an unexpected spike out of anywhere. Groundwater levels are low enough now that if we see them start coming up, we can project I&I. But again, we've still been in a condition with lower flows. So when I say the term living document, it's almost like at any given time, you can reevaluate this based on the flows. So yes, we're saying that we can allow up to an additional 50,000 gallons.
We have a list of what we had approved for pending. You included in one of your documents. Of course, where I am, I don't have my folders, all my folders with me.
Right.
Do we have anything that's been approved other than these individual homes that seem to look like they added 110 gallons, which to me is one bedroom, right?
I don't know if there's been other approvals since that document was generated. But the ones we were aware of were put onto the most recently updated document in your packet.
I don't have anything in my packet that tells me what we.
Go ahead. Sorry.
All we have is from Guy that came out this morning.
That would be the document I'm referring to. I apologize.
And all these have on in our homes with
No, that's another document. That's the document from if you look at the top, it's a 600 gallons per day, turned back in from three Kendrick. And then also the 1,300 gallons turned back in from the NAP project. All the other projects on the living document have been committed. Those gallons are committed. And so what you have there is the active permit process through the inspectional services that we've been proving at 110 gallons for bedrooms. Under that 1,900 gallons, we've used 800, and there's still some gallons left. I'm not using those gallons. I'm using the gallons from the GHD document dated April 22nd / February 2023 memorandum that introduces the entire process we've been through and saying that we can add, starting today, an additional 50,000 gallons per day of flow. And that's out of those gallons I am stating we should approve, because we said pending gallons for Damien's and for the car wash, so we can say they can do their projects and have flow.
Did you say 50,000?
Correct.
I did.
Not
It's in
5,000.
the document.
Correct.
50, comma 000. And that would be on page 11 of the document, is where it states
Which
that.
document?
The document that I emailed to the board titled memorandum. It was a document that you've seen before that you wanted updated because you confused the words queue, et cetera, et cetera. They updated that to review all that. And now they added that there's an additional 50,000 gallons available.
I didn't realize that was what the agenda articles were, or I would have brought that document with me, because it just talked about Damien's Pantry and Fort Toll Road. So we have
Right, and-
50,000 available.
Yes, ma'am.
And maybe a recommendation would be a first come, first serve basis, for the projects that have a formal engineered plan with the calculations. There'll be some type of mechanism to how these come through, but for the small individual, go ahead.
Guy, you've indicated that these gallons for these homes have a building permit. Do we have a building permit for Damien's Pantry and Fort Tow Road?
Yes,
They've been approved building permits.
yes, yes, they have. And I've signed off on them, and once gallons become available, they can tie into sewer. They've been through the town permit process and they're approved. That's where I get the information.
So of everything that has come before you with a building permit since the moratorium, how many gallons is that?
I sent you the documents, 810 gallons is what we've approved.
No.
Since the moratorium.
What,
And I
sorry,
sent
what
the
you
address.
approved? This has
Well,
not
that's for the building
810,
permits, yeah.
this
It's
has not
810
been approved,
gallons.
sorry. I am totally confused. You gave us a list of 810 gallons for homes that had an increase in flow.
Correct,
Have they been approved?
correct. I've signed off on them, utilizing
No.
the 1900 gallons from Kendrick, 3 Kendrick, and the turnback of 1300 from the NAP project. Yes,
So you approve them, commissioners do not have to.
not on the list, no. The 50,000 gallons, I would recommend the Board of Sewer Commission establish a policy, and as they come forward, we'll approve them. Do you want to give it to large projects, small projects, first come, first serve? Those are actually at permit proposals. You can make that decision, and then we'll just move forward on the 50,000
Okay.
gallons.
Do we tell the town the moratorium is lifted?
I have not said anything to the town yet. I haven't, but the 50,000 gallons we do have available now. And I would suggest that the board issue something along the lines of how those 1,000 gallons are going to be distributed. Because you'll get overwhelmed with people that have ideas for projects. So do you want to give real projects? Or do you want to give somebody to say, we can do something, but you got to do it within a year, as we have done in the past? I don't know. That's going to be a board decision. All I'm saying is tonight, we said to these two individuals in front of us tonight that when gallons become available, and all I'm saying is that gallons are now available, I'd like to move these two folks forward, and then you can decide how you want to distribute the rest. That's my proposal this evening.
Hey, Guy, this,
Yes.
these two to move forward, would these gallons be coming out of the 50,000 or out of the 800?
There's 1,000 gallons left in the 1900. So Damien's no problem out of those gallons, but the 26 I can wipe out, plus take the balance out of the 50, whatever you feel is the proper way to move.
Well, I
I'll do
didn't know.
whatever you want me to do.
So,
I would like to see a document from GHD as to how we now have 50,000 gallons available. I know we talked about it. You discussed it on it. I would love to see a document that we can show to the town why all of a sudden we've got 50,000 that we could use for a
It's-
program, for hookups.
In your email, Sandy, it's in your email. Oh, do you have your email
I
with you?
did
You have a
not get it,
computer?
by the way.
I didn't either.
Okay, it was-
I
it
didn't
was
get
to
any
Sewer
email.
Commission.
I have no memorandum, and I want to look at what's in queue before we decide anything.
I have
Well, the
nothing
queue's
from,
on the-
And I didn't.
I have gallons through inspectional services. I don't have anything about the 50,000 becoming available.
You know,
Because I'm not going to approve any flow increase, even that 810, until I can truly understand why all of a sudden 50,000 gallons became available. Because we put a moratorium and hurt the town by stopping businesses from coming in because we said no sewer hookup. I would love to know how this happened.
I think the short answer is that when we installed the moratorium, the flows to the plant were over 1 million gallons a day. If they were approaching somewhere over 1 million. And now over the last few years with groundwater tables going down, things like that, the flows are consistently 100,000, 150,000 gallons per day less.
Then I want that in writing, please. Because
It's
I need to give
understood.
it to the selectmen to say, how come we went to our decision of a moratorium?
And that has been provided to the superintendent already.
That has not come to the sewer commissioners. I don't think the selectmen have seen it. Guy, do you have it? Because you haven't given it to us.
I'm looking in my emails as we speak.
Because I'm sure I would have noticed an email saying, hey, we got 50,000 available.
It was, oh gosh, let me see. It was sent.
So again,
was
I'd like to see the memo. If there's
Yes, it
backup.
was sent, it was sent last week. I mean, sorry, early Monday. I'm resending it. I just resent it. You probably won't get it. It was sent Monday.
So it was not this morning.
No, it was sent Monday.
The one this morning was for the homes, the
Yeah, that's-
810 gallons.
Because you asked, yes, you asked for that list. So that's what I did this morning. I was going through some old notes. You asked for that list. That's what you got tomorrow. Nothing you got today. Nothing to do with today's meeting. Nothing at all.
So if I take a look at everything that you sent me, I should find it listed someplace. I don't.
I would suggest. Because I just send it to sewer commissioners. And that has emails attached to it. I don't have any individual emails. I just send it to sewer commissioners.
Well, I'm not willing to approve any connection, including the 810, until I can better understand what we got available. How come we got what is available? That's just me. Because we really told this town, sorry, no businesses, no extra bedrooms, no nothing.
And we did. And when the 1,300 gallons came available, we gave it to the folks in the building permits that were holding,
Did you-
waiting for bedrooms.
Sorry, Guy, did you give it to them already?
The bedrooms that are listed?
Did you give this
those are all
810
done. They've
gallons?
been- No, the 800 gallons is not gone anywhere. No, I'm sorry. Yes, the 810 gallons is gone. These are the addresses of the bill permits that have been approved. Absolutely. Through that 1,900 gallons, we approved to take back the 1,300 gallons from the NAP project. We
I
sent you a
know
memo that the project at 3 Kendrick had 600 gallons. There's
I
19.
know that.
We had talked
Guy.
at a meeting about giving gallons to permits. I think it was suggested by Mr. White, goes way back, probably 6 months, and we gave those away that were at permit, and that cleared it up.
So
I honestly am going through my notes and I can't find where we gave you permission to release gallons after the moratorium without coming to us. I see nothing to say you can give the gallons away as you get a building permit.
Well, we had the discussion and I said to you that if you would like every building permit to be sent to you for approval, we can do that. Because you can go down to inspectional services, there's a web you can sign into, and you can look at all the permits, and if you want to approve them, I have no problem with it.
So,
But we discussed it and it came out of discussion, that's all. It was simple as that they were at permit. These were waiting at permit, they were active, they've done the work, and the gallons became available, so we told those folks to move forward.
I remember the discussion, Guy. We were gonna work with inspectional services, and these are all homes that are
Which we
already
are.
have connections. And
That
they're
is
trying to
correct.
expand, and that was to become a priority.
That was correct. That's what we said at that time. And
Now,
when the
I
gallons
had
become available but that's all we
probably-
did.
we should have known that those were satisfied, and I again, I did not get a memorandum on the
I'll look at
fluctuating-
I apologize. I sent it. It's in my phone. I resent it. If you don't get it, then there's something, I'll do something different tomorrow.
I will mention
But
to
I
you,
sent it. It's in my phone. I can see it. I'm sorry?
I will mention. to
It's
you
at the plant. I can.
When I've tried to send
Email
things,
again.
when I've tried to send things to sewer commissioner as a group, most of the time it comes back to me not able to deliver. So why.
Well, let me ask you this question, because that's the email I use at sewer commissioners. Do you want me to have every individual email and send it out individually? Would that make it more easily to get? I don't know.
I
don't know.
honestly don't know
But
what
I
the-
just,
I get everything from directly to me.
How did you send the gallons available, the 600? How did you send that?
email.
Send it the same way.
Okay, I did.
It went to the sewer commissioners. That's the
Yes.
to address on that last email from this morning. Available gallons doc X. It went to
Right, went to
sewer
the sewer
commissioners.
commissioners. Yes, and I sent the other one to sewer commissioners that no one has. So, I just resent it, and I don't think anybody's gotten it. So there's a problem with that document. Maybe it's too big. I don't think so. It shouldn't be, but I have no idea. I have no idea. I have no explanation for it.
So on our list of approved pending flow, all we have is 2 projects that are not homes, Damien Pantry and Car Wash.
That's correct. There's no other businesses. We're done.
So
And
of
all
the
the other projects that we
50,000,
committed flow to are starting.
so of the 50,000,
Mhm.
the, let me find that damn email again. We had available 1320 from, sorry,
Tom Knapp. Yes, the Knapp project.
so 1320 from Knapp. We had 600 from Kendrick that got reduced.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's 1920, of which you have approved 810 gallons committed.
So of the 1,900 gallons, I've approved 810 gallons, which leaves a balance of 1,000 something. Yes.
1,110 available. Now, of the 50,000 that surprised us tonight, we're
Mhm.
looking at 2,640 for the car wash. Now, the Damien's Pantry in September, we approved 500 gallons. The email that was attached said 250 gallons. Which one is it?
250 gallons according to the engineer.
I know, but that engineering document you had before we voted on 500 gallons on September. So Damien's Pantry is 250?
That's what the document says. That's what I have. That's all I can go by.
I know,
If
but
you
that's
said
not
it-
what came before us as a sewer commissioner to approve the Damien Pantry. It was 500. It says it
Well,
has
that's-
2 bathrooms using 3 days a week.
What date was
And in
that?
it, it
'Cause
says
I have
using 500 gallons per day.
I have, the document I'm looking at says August 17th, 2022. 50 gallons per 1,000 square feet, or 50 gallons times 5,000 square feet per divided by 1,000, or 250 gallons per day. That is the projected flow.
Unfortunately, that was not the number presented us that we approved. So if you want to do the 250, I'm fine with that.
Well, that's the letter I have, and that's all I have. So if they
So we're going to get a
presented
letter.
500, I'm not aware of that.
We're going to get an email explaining why all of a sudden we've got 50,000. Then what is Jimmy
Well,
going to
yes,
tell the town?
If I may, and I don't see Commissioner Gibberti on the screen anymore. I don't know.
No, Jimmy, he called me for some reason.
Okay.
He lost us. He's trying to get back on.
Okay. One of the other big factors, Commissioner Slavin, for the 50,000 gallons is, and Sarah's report earlier, we are going through the startup process now for the significant investments that helps us better manage the peak flows, which was the driver of the project, and also the moratorium. These real high peak flows with high groundwater cause the overflows. So now that we're finally at startup of all of these projects, and this helps us better manage, we feel much more comfortable because literally with the package and the report today, and your packet identifies that we're at the end of this construction project. We're getting pretty close to it as well. So we've done a number of big steps to help manage this issue. And that should be looked at as good news. Apologies for the miscommunication with the document back and forth. But
So
that's the-
because we were in
Go
a
ahead.
drought, we had low groundwater. Now, if we get more groundwater, will we be back into a problem?
Not necessarily, because all of these improvements we put in were to directly address that and manage those higher peak flows. For example, the additional 2.7 million gallons of equalization we gain with the basins 4 and 5. And then we also have an additional equalization of 125,000 gallons. Now, keep in mind that this all has to re-enter the system when those peak flows go down. So we're not truly adding capacity, but we're better managing.
We're
the peak-
managing we're managing, we're managing
Right.
the flow we have.
And if you rewind, I think it was, 3 years ago when all this really started happening, we didn't have the crystal ball to see how long it was going to take to get these installed, what the exact course of action was, but we're here now. We've done this. So yes, absolutely. We can start tying in flow, and we don't want to hamstring the town at all with lack of development and things like that. We understand how important that is. So
I totally understand that, Russ.
Yep.
It's, but we have to look back on the actions have taken with the moratorium. And to move forward, we have to respect whatever we've done.
understood.
That's the problem. So I'm glad. I would be even happier if I'd known one guy knew, but that's a good deal. I know that was an unknown to be determined with the project.
Malcolm, we all knew, I'm sorry, but we all knew the last meeting. At that last meeting, Sandy asked us to clarify it. We clarified it. That's all we did. In the last meeting, we presented this document. Sandy went over it. She had some questions and she was concerned about the word Q and things like that. And that's all been cleaned up. But in that document you already seen, we addressed the 50,000 gallons. But the wording wasn't proper.
Then I missed it.
So we redid the wording. That's all it is. You've already seen. If you go to the last meeting, you've already seen the document. There was questions about Q and this and that. So we clarified it all. And that's all the new docket. That's all the new one does, is clarify the Q and what, and that's all it did. So if you go to the old docket that we passed out, I want to say, gosh, I don't have it in front of me the last meeting. I apologize.
And that was specifically that document. We left it and we added updates so we could keep a record of the exact action taken at the exact time.
Because this one takes out the word Q. It takes out specifically what Sandy asked to take out. We've taken all that stuff out, revised the document that she went over last meeting and said she has some issues with. And so we revised it and sent it back out. At that time, there was a 50,000 gallons additionally. It was actually at the head of the thing, the beginning of it. And now we moved to the back of the document and cleaned everything up. So that's all. That's why I thought you've had it. This is just clarity of what she asked for last meeting. But it's sent. We'll make sure you send it. I'll call it ready tomorrow. If you haven't got it, we'll resend it. If not, we'll figure another way to get it to everybody.
I thought
And our
you
hope
just
was
sent
that
it.
we could. I did. Did you get it? I don't know, because Malcolm said nobody's gotten it yet. I resent it. No one has it, so this is an issue. I don't know
Okay,
if you
so
checked the
what
emails, but
actions do we sewer commissioners take to let people know all of a sudden, hey, we can do business in town. We have sewer. Do we do
yeah,
anything?
50,000 gallons. I would, Sandy, I would suggest you decide how to divvy up to 50,000. And then I would make an announcement. This is what we have. This is what
On
we're
no
doing.
way
this
am
is
I
how
going to right now
we're
without
handling it.
information decide how to divvy it up.
No, I'm not saying today. I'm talking about a long term, maybe a policy. You need to discuss it sooner before you tell the town I got 50,000. And then say, okay, yes, we through whatever the document explains it. And I can put this document on the website, explains it and says through this document, the sewer commissioners now feel good about giving 50,000 gallons, of capacity. And here's how we suggest we should hand it out, whatever you guys figure. And then that's what I'd bring, because if you just say 50,000 available, you may have a feeding frenzy. That's all. I
Wait,
don't
wait.
know. That's just my suggestion. You guys seem
Didn't
to
you
think is right.
just say,
Jim, you're muted.
Guy,
Jim, you're muted.
we have to have a building
Jim, you're
permit?
muted. Yes, I think so.
Well,
I think so.
I don't know what
that's
frenzy we can
an
get
investment.
without building permits being completed.
Again, whatever the guidance is, Sandy, I think we should put that guidance out opposed to saying, you know what I mean, that we just have it. That's all I'm saying. However you think you should handle it, that's will be your decision. But we're blessed with an additional 50,000 gallons. The town needs gallons. However, we're going to give it out, we should. There are people that are doing the diligence of spending the money to get the building permits at the town hall. They're actually in the permit process. Maybe we go there. I don't know. Just a suggestion. And I don't know how we're gonna tell Jim he's muted. He's screaming and he's muted. He's screaming. Maybe he's talking to somebody else, but he seems to be,
No, he's still muted. Jimmy's trying.
yeah, he's muted. Yeah, I know. I just,
Hold on, I'll call.
Can I ask Russ a question in the meantime?
I would, that's up to Jim, but I would say yes. I can't tell you yes or no.
Zach, are you acting as chair?
Hold on. Jimmy. You're
He's on the
advanced
phone to
endeavor,
some,
but you're muted. Upper right of the thumbnail, your picture should say unmute.
he's still looking. I'm still going back to this question. When did we give Guy permission to release flow? When did we give him permission for these 810 gallons?
Forget the date. We had a conversation, I'd have to look through the minutes
We had
about.
Station, we
the
never
building
gave the
permit.
permission.
I would love to see it in the minutes because I can't find it in my notes.
You won't.
I'll have to look. We had this discussion. We talked about giving it to people that permit because we had 1,300. At that time, it was just 1,300 gallons available. Because back in July or August, we pulled back to 1,300 gallons.
Yes, and we talked about 3 properties. And I remember how upset Donna was to find out that you had given them gallons away.
Through the building permit. I do it every day. And that's when I said to you at that meeting, do you suggest that I don't, it's day-to-day business. I get these, every day I get these requests from the town. And I've been saying, no, no, no. We had the 13 and I cleared them up. That's all.
Not every day
if
do
you-
we have a moratorium. And that
I get
I
it,
honestly
but the
cannot
gallons-
find where we gave you permission to release NAPS gallons.
No,
I keep going through my notes and I can't find it.
And you won't.
You know, at this point with the 50,000 gallons, at this point with the 50,000 gallons pending, I think we want to wait for Russ to give us that document that details why we have the 50,000. So we know what we're talking about exactly. And then go from there on what we're going to do with it and how. Does a moratorium come off as a result of it? Or are we doing something different?
Can I ask a question, Jim?
Yes.
To Russ, would you recommend that we keep something in reserve?
You mean like say like a certain amount of that 50,000 in reserve?
Yes, yes.
No, I would not. You can utilize the full 50.
So even if we go into a red season, we're not going to get in trouble.
To a rent season, you're saying like a
Wet.
Correct. You can use all that 50,000 because again, there are still additional committed flows to the plant that have not been acted on. For example, the 100,000 gallons from Bourne, right? They're at one point or they have a significant as part of the IMA that we can't overlap that. We know that's not all coming tomorrow at once. Groundwater tables do not rise instantaneously. So at this time, no, and that was the purpose of giving you a finite number, is to give you a line and to say, okay, at this point, we feel comfortable with 50. So you can use, would recommend using all that.
So we actually may have more than 50?
And that's what the CWMP document that we're working on now,
Fine,
because it's a much more detailed, but
That's
potentially,
okay. You've answered my question. Thank you.
all I'll say is engineers are conservative by nature. So read between the lines.
Including yourself?
It's, you know, the best compliment I ever got was, you don't act like an engineer, but I am an engineer. So yes, including myself.
I have no idea what that is.
Anything else?
Yeah, Jimmy, I don't know if you were online when we were talking about this, but I think we need to take a look at our previous actions with the moratorium. And also take a look at what we're going to do in the future with allocation.
I
Before we
don't
do
disagree with that.
before we do anything. And if it's post haste and we have to have a meeting sooner than later, fine. It's wonderful news. It's just that if it was at the last meeting, I missed it. Totally missed it. That's big news. I'm surprised I missed it.
Well, that's why I think we need something from Russ to explain why we have the 50, so that we all are on the same page and understand it, so we can explain it to anybody. And then make the determination whether or not the moratorium gets off or it's just an allocation standpoint.
Right.
I would suggest by the next commissioners meeting, if you want to have an agenda item, you should have the revised document and we can have a discussion, and just a discussion then. If we want to take action, so be it, but I'll be available to.
That
answer
sounds good to
questions.
me. That sounds good to me. Anybody else agree, disagree?
No, I
think
agree,
that's fine.
Jimmy.
And for clarification, I don't have an issue with the way Guy has handled the small additions to
Neither do I.
that are already tied in. And
Yeah.
that was done in cooperation with Inspectional Services, which seems to become a good agent for us. And in the past, they were not.
Yeah, exactly.
If that helped develop that, then that's a good thing. But moving forward, I want to look at what we've done and what we're going to do in the future.
That's all of it, right? Mac, that's everything from now on.
Yes, correct.
So the 810 is water under the bridge, so to speak.
I don't have any issue with that.
Okay,
And I know we did discuss that. We absolutely did with Guy. And I knew that was the intent.
Anything else? Anyone else?
no, I found my notes. June 9th, 22. We had a list of 5 waiting projects. We approved Guy to release action number 4 because a building permit existed. Unfortunately, I don't have access to my notes to what number 4 was, but this was back in June 9th, 22, if anybody wants to look at the minutes. But it was just one project with a building permit. That was it. Nothing else. But okay. The 810 is gone. So we have 1,110 left over from the NAP Kendrick adjustment.
810 left, right? Okay, so Damien's Pantry and Toll Road are a go. Hello.
I would suggest to move forward, but I don't believe the board's going to. I think Damien's and the tow road, we've talked about this. They came to us, original 7,000. We said we'd do it in increments, and we have, and now this is the
Right.
final stage. Damien's is, and these both are at build permit. They're active. I would suggest, I feel comfortable releasing it, but again, it's your call.
Mac, Peter, Randy?
Well, I don't, there's nobody else in queue ahead of them.
No. That's it. We're clean.
Well, based on that comment, I don't have an issue with it right now, but going forward, it's going to change.
Right. Peter?
I
You want a
just-
motion?
What I'm saying is going forward, I want a consensus of the board. That's all.
Yes,
That's
Yes.
all.
I agree.
What I'm asking
I don't
is,
know
do you
how the
want a
hell else
motion
you're going to
on
keep
these?
track of it.
Okay, yes, Peter, I'd like a motion.
I make a motion, we approve Damien's Pantry and Fort Tow Road for the 250 gallons for Damien's Pantry. And how much for Tow Road? I'm sorry.
2640.
2640.
No, 2640.
Correct.
Yes, 2640.
So, Peter, can you make your motion for 2,890 gallons?
Okay, now are we using up that 1,090 gallons that's left over from the 810 we
No.
just gave out?
I don't think so. I think this is coming from the 50.
So this is coming from the 50?
Yes,
So we have 50,000 plus the 1,090.
What 1,090?
That's correct.
so we have 50,000 plus the 1,110. 5110, of which we're going to take off 280, 2,890.
Is- All right, so the motion is we approve Damien's Pantry for 250. We approved Tow Road for 2,640 to be taken out of the 51,000.
51,110.
Now, how you got that? I got 100, but all right.
Fine. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Peter,
Yes,
Mac,
Yes,
Sandy,
Yes,
Jim, yes. It's 400.
so the balance we have failed 48,220 gallons per day. Did I add that right?
I didn't try it.
yeah.
48220 available.
Gotcha.
I still want to
Okay.
see that memo about the 50,000.
That's, yes,
Well,
I just
I
Yes,
know, I'm
emailed it.
beating a dead horse. I
Actually-
know, Jimmy.
that will be
I
at
just
the
emailed
next
it again.
meeting. Russ has already indicated we would do that.
Maybe Russ can send him his copy since we can't get it from Guy.
Yeah, maybe, because I forwarded the email he sent me again. So I don't know. You let me know if you don't get it. I sent it twice tonight. So you should, but one of them should come through. Check your emails. Probably came through.
I got it.
And I sent you the conversation. I sent the conversation between the engineers also. So you have the
This came
conversation
from,
and you have the document.
Guy, this came from Mark, not from Russ.
We work together on it,
Well,
Commissioner
I
Slaven.
forwarded-
It's-
If you look at the email chain, they both were there, but I forwarded the whole thing to you, not just the attachment. Maybe that was the problem. I don't know. So you can
Yeah,
read the
since you got the
dialogue
email on
and how
you
we
got
took
your
out the
email on
word.
Tuesday. Yeah.
So you can see how we did that. So that's where we are with it.
Okay.
I don't
All
know.
right.
what
This
happened,
isn't-
I've got it now and I know I didn't miss this one.
No, I didn't miss this one
Okay.
either. It's
Well, I
gonna
sent
take
the
a while.
whole conversation and maybe, I don't know, maybe it was, I sent the attachment and maybe that's what I did wrong. I don't see how. I've done it before, but I sent you the whole thing, all the conversation, everything. That's a document.
Okay,
All right, superintendent's report, please. If there's anything left.
I could go on all night, but here's my biggest
Oh.
issue, and I think the board has to think about this. I'm getting a lot of calls for properties, multiple properties tied on one lateral. As an example, there's a particular project that's in the building. They're looking to put two 1-bedroom apartments onto the existing tied-in sewer. However, that lateral serves four properties, 2 multifamilies, 1 multifamily with a business and another business. This has been done. They're all over the place. They're all everywhere. And it's going to create nothing but issues because people are asking me to solve the issue. It's on private property and I have no solution. I don't know if we want to banter this. I've sent it over to legal for some advice. But if one property fails, they all fail. And it just doesn't seem right. It's happening throughout the entire town. There's no town. Across from the town hall, there's 3 properties. At one time, they're all owned by one individual or one family. And they put one lateral and tied everybody into that lateral. They split the lots because you can legally make lots that are non-conforming with houses, and they sell them. And no one does anything with the utilities. So you have shared sewer. So if one person has an issue, they all have an issue, and I can't resolve it. People are asking me to resolve it, and I can't. So I want to throw that out there. Maybe you folks can think of some way of dealing with it, but it's becoming problematic throughout the town. And I just keep telling folks, not my issue, and nobody wants to hear that.
Guy,
So that's
On that-
I throw it out to you.
Guy, that particular
Yes.
problem. Well, how many betterments were paid? Do you know? Is there any way to find that out?
One.
One betterment.
Well, there's only one
If
lateral,
we're
so there's only one.
So
So there's
you
only
get
one betterment.
you Get one lateral, but you
See?
should have a lateral for every building.
That's my issue. You're
If you
taking a
subdivide
6-inch
later-
lateral and putting 6-inch.
Absolutely, Guy. If you subdivide later, then
Yeah. Can we install them with new laterals for the ones that from the original, the other ones that are tied in, and charge them the betterments?
I don't know. I can find out. I don't know. We can do anything. And so whatever suggestion you have, we can run it up the flagpole through legal. But I just don't, what's happening is people are getting very frustrated because I don't have an answer. Because I don't know these are all been done years and years ago. Far
Well,
back as the 70s. And this has been
and the
common
problem is-
practice.
The problem you're facing right now is an ownership problem.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to transfer ownership on a piece of property, you should be able to have your own sewer somehow, whether it's hooked up to town or whether it's a septic system on your own property. But, it should be one and done type deal. This particular
State
situation.
allows,
Go ahead.
it's allowed by the state. It's allowed by the state, Jim. That's what makes it problematic. The state says you can create non-conforming lots. So if you have an existing lot with 2 houses on it, you can cut that lot in half and saw one piece off. But nobody addresses the utilities. No
Well,
addressing. And
what
so
I'm
now you have a utility issue.
Just
Yes, so you're
because
right, Jim.
just because they can sell it off doesn't mean that the sewerage automatically goes with it.
right, the sewer's not grandfathered. No way.
Right. There's no grandfathering there, is there? I can't see that.
You think the water department would hook it
No,
up for nothing?
How many water
Well,
meters
it's
do
all
they
over
have?
the place. It's really covered.
Jack, you got a good
Each one
point.
has an individual water. I gotta suggest, I'll have to look, but I believe each one has an individual water meter because they're single family, they're single business, right? They're on separate lots. They just tie all these lots into one lateral. Because
Now, is the lateral on their property?
No, it's on someone else's property. Three of the properties out
But
of
the
the
lateral
four
is on
are
private
on their own
property.
property. It is. It is.
They won't get this.
It is. It's private. It's all private.
Guy, is it possible to develop
It's
a
all
list,
private.
And then come back here.
Guy?
Ooh. I
Guy,
can tell you the ones I'm running into.
They talking.
I can tell you the ones I'm running into, Jim, best I can do.
okay, well, that, I mean, that will be a
But it's-
start.
it's
That would,
common.
that, I mean, I would like to see that kind of a list as a start so we can come up with some kind of a game plan on what we can do and going forward, what would happen. Because at this point, you're in the dock and you're flailing away. And there's not a damn thing we can do because we don't have any information to work from.
I agree. 'Cause
Now, I
I'm
don't know,
saying
I
nothing
don't know that
can
we're
do-
gonna come up with a solution, but at least we should look at it and check with legal as well and see what we can or cannot do, or what should or shouldn't be done.
Mr. Chairman, through you, can I just ask a quick question?
Certainly.
I had to
Go, Russ.
step away for a minute, so I might have missed
Yeah.
this, but how do these properties, when they subdivide, what do they do for their potable water service?
Well, the guy was just saying that they're hooked
So
up.
what
They've
just-
got
so
meters on each
what
house.
happens, Russ, some have meters, some don't. So let's say that you owned a piece of property and you had a house in front and you put a cottage out back for maybe your guests that come over through the summer.
Yep.
Because you have that. So you tied the back property into the front property. So the water split because you did all the stuff on the weekend. So it's split and you just tied the sewer into your sewer and you're done. And you live happily ever after. 40 years down the road, someone says, hey, I can divide this lot by law and create non-conforming lots and sell it because I can get the money. And they do that. Now, a year or two down the road, there's a problem. There's a blockage. So the one across from the town hall, I think it was owned by a cranberry company. They called me and said, hey, we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? We got a blockage and we don't know who's, now all these houses, we don't know whose problem it is. I says, well, I don't, it's one lateral. They were all tied to that one lateral. It was
So-
done and they subdivided it a long time ago. So they don't do the utilities, Russ, but they do the lots.
And I'm just curious, one more question. So a water department does not require individual properties to have a water shutoff?
No, the shut-off comes to the main property. So you own a property with 3 buildings, it comes to you and people split them off.
So if owner number 2 or 3 down the line, if house number 1 has a water issue and the department comes and shuts it off, that means houses 2 and 3 don't have water.
That has, you have to go to the
All
water
okay.
department.
I know, but I'm trying to come up with this. I'm just
I'm
thinking
trying to-
thinking
yeah.
out loud a little bit here.
Russ,
And I
some of
know
these are
it's-
that, yes, some were done on the weekends. Some were done without anybody's permission. And so now today it creates the problem because now they're coming forward and I don't think there's a resolution other than saying, get a new sewer line or tie another one in, that type of thing, Russ. And all I'm saying is that I don't have answers and people are getting frustrated, but I said it's on private property. We're talking private property and I end at the street
We don't have a policy on
and no
lateral.
one's getting, I can't answer.
that's what I'm getting at is to implement the
should develop-
policy. But then
We
how
should
do you
develop a
enforce that?
policy.
How do you enforce that? That's
I
the
don't
next
know.
Well,
question.
I think you have trouble enforcing it if it's one owner, but down the road, if they're creating non-conforming lots and now you have multiple owners, nothing's grandfathered.
That's our issue. Bingo. That's
So
our issue. We
now
have them.
you either have
There's one
to,
in Union Street.
I would say.
Yeah.
each
So that's
building
all.
needs its
That's,
own
I just
lateral.
want to throw that out there. I'm not looking for a solution this evening, but I want us to chew on it. And I'll provide what I can, whatever you need, but this is an issue that's come forward quite a bit and it's more and more common today. So
I'm
I just want to
surprised
throw it
there's
out there
nothing in
because
our policies, Jimmy.
I want to share it.
I haven't seen anything like this, but we'll have to take a closer look and see if there's anything that shows up. But there's no point in having a policy if we don't have an enforcement vehicle behind it. You know, You know,
Well,
it's like
the
with,
hard part, Jim,
it's like with the sump pumps, you know, the sump pumps, they're illegal in the state. They're illegal in the town, but we have them and we can't do a damn thing about them. So, you know, it gets to be kind of
yes,
you know, catch 22 here.
So
they're
Guy,
illegal,
coming
and they're
forward
also illegal throughout the country.
with,
Yeah, I
with-
know.
I'm sorry?
this stuff is becoming apparent now because they're having problems.
Yes. All of a sudden there's a blockage.
Well, it's not our
And now they're
problem.
fighting on who's going to fix it. And they're asking me to put a ladder. I'm saying it's really not my problem. It's a private problem. It's not my problem. And
It's
then it
not
comes
your-
to light that I've got 4 homes tied to one lateral.
You're absolutely correct. It's not your problem.
Well, if you put a lateral in, guess what? Another betterment fee we can
You
collect.
get another betterment and you get another assessment for sewer fee.
Well, that's the question that I
Okay.
have going into this. Can we
Yes.
assess a betterment on each one of those, have a lateral put in on each one of those and assess the betterment?
So I'll
Good
ask the
question.
attorney. I'll send an email off to the attorney and see what he says. Would you want, or you want to talk to him, Jim?
I'll talk to them.
I
don't care.
think we make it a policy that everybody
we
gets
don't-
their own sewer line.
We're not gonna have, if you can't enforce it, why have it? Let's find out if we can enforce it and how we enforce it before we worry about doing it. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sick of
No, you have
policies
a
that are
good point.
flying out there and everybody goes, oh, we got a policy, big deal. What do you do with it?
Well,
But that's why, for
can we
example, we
put
can
the
ask the water
lateral in?
department.
They're on private property.
That's the point. Don't have those answers,
Well,
you know? I would say, you know, you should be able to, but whatever.
it depends
You know,
on
we
how
got a
the,
bunch-
how the policy reads, Jim. If
Well, I
you
think-
could put a policy in place that accomplishes this and Guy gets a contractor to put a lateral in, they're obligated to tie in. They're gonna get assessed, whether they use it or not, and they're gonna get assessed the sewer.
Well, I mean,
You
I
gotta
don't-
go to legal.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think we gotta
I
go through
agree.
legal first before we start doing any of this other stuff and get some kind of an idea of what we can do and what's practical to do.
Hey, Guy,
It's
not,
an issue.
not,
that's gotta
not,
get
not
solved.
your problem, Guy, right now.
Right, I agree. Right now, it's.
Not your
I've
problem.
got too many problems to deal with, but
But you got.
it just
but you-
keeps coming up. So I think it's something we gotta,
Well,
and maybe
but you
after
can
Jim
provide
talks
us
to
the
legal, we'll have a
information.
better direction.
I mean, you can provide us the
I'll
information
see
where
what
we
I-
can start.
I'll give
Without
you the
having-
ones that I'm presently going through.
That's fine, because we need a start point, that's all. If
No,
we're
no,
doing-
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay.
That's for sure. Okay.
and then-
Now, my second question is, we bettered 2 properties in Cremisa because they were both buildable lots. The owner is looking to build, they went to conservation. Conservation said you can only put 1 house on these 2 lots. So the gentleman says, no problem. Now he wants me to reimburse him for the lateral that he put in. He wants his betterment money back. And I don't know if I can do that.
Guy, what's the address?
I think it's 136, 140 Cremisa Road. And they each have a lateral, and so the conservation told them they can't, I guess there's issues with wetland, and they only put 1 lot, combined lots, but 1 house. And now they want their betterment money back for that lateral that they can't use.
Really?
Yes.
Was it a wetland when the line went in?
When the line went in back in 2012, they were both buildable lots.
Okay,
They
so
were bettered.
so they evidently something's grown in and something's reverted back to wetland. That's not our problem.
I'm
Or
guessing,
they're
because
A
now,
bigger, or they want a bigger house than the lot will support. They want
Yeah,
a
I
bigger
don't really know
property
the
than the house.
details. And I didn't know, that's a conservation issue. However, they're asking because that lot now is not buildable, they want the money back for that lateral.
Yeah, you're not in a
And
position
I
to
said
do
it was,
that.
I can't do it. I said, that's why I'm bringing it to the board. I
we
said, in
can't do
my
that.
opinion, it was, it was buildable at that time, and we bettered it. Now, I can't give you back your betterment, but
No.
it's not my call. So I want to make the board aware of that because, yes, okay, just want to make sure. because that's a tough one for me. I don't know. Yeah,
I
it's
make a
crazy.
motion, you refer them to conservation. They can pay them.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
I'm going to recuse myself.
I gotta have
So
another.
that's an issue. I just want. That's crazy. I think that's it for now of problems and stuff. I sent you the email from Maria. I can't say her last name, but she's from the DEP SR funding, explains that the 16 million this year, 20 million next year, all that's explained. I sent you that email chain. I thought it was important you have it, explains the SR funding, the date of the 30th, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I sent that out. She was very kind to get back to us. I appreciate that. So I wanted the board to have that. So if you didn't get it, please let me know, because obviously emails have been a problem and I want to make sure you get that. I think that's all I have at this moment.
Okay,
Other than a lot of little things, there's been a lot of electrical problems at the plant. We're trying to resolve it. We got somebody coming in to figure out what's going on there. We keep losing legs of the three-phase, and it's become an issue. The main generator lost the heater block. It's a major repair. We put a new heater block in it. Heater block keeps the crank warm. The generator is a huge one to run the plant. So when it's cold, like a 7 degrees Saturday morning, if we lose power, if the oil gets hard in the diesel, it cranks very hard. It may not start. So we got to replace that. So these little things are starting to happen. The plant went online in 2005, the upgrade, and it was designed 1999. So I keep hearing the word new. It's far from new. It's become antiquated. So I want to run that by you. We're dealing with those issues. Same thing with the blowers. There's an electrical issue there. We're trying to resolve that, but a lot of little things. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
thank you very much. Any unfinished business?
Don't have any.
Okay, Peter?
None.
Okay, Sandy?
No,
Okay. I just want to make a brief comment for anybody from Swiss Beach that might be listening, that we are trying to find a way to alleviate the situation over there. We've got quite a few balls in the air right now. There is nothing, and I repeat, nothing concrete, nothing at this point that's discussable that we can go forward with. As soon as we have any relatively good concrete ideas on options, we will let you know. Okay, new business, anything?
No. I want to make
No.
it very clear, Jim.
Yeah.
This is cranberry and seltzer water. By the
Oh,
way,
is that holy water?
yeah, it's holy water.
Good. Any other business not reasonably
Yes.
anticipated?
I would like the sewer commissioners to send something to Donna.
Okay.
Yep.
Peter?
It's a good
Yes.
thought.
Yep.
Can we do
Okay.
that through the office guy?
I'm sorry. What do you mean, through the office? I sent something on behalf of the sewer commissioners?
Yeah.
Like,
And
in
something
charge of the
on
money,
to
I guess.
Donna?
Yeah, Tom, email me what you want and I'll get it done.
You know what you want, Sandy?
I don't see a problem. I don't see a
I
problem.
haven't seen the
don't think-
obit to see what they recommend, what they suggest. Has anybody
why don't
seen
we-
the obituary?
No, it hasn't come out yet.
Because they usually indicate, in lieu of flowers, do this or something like that. So
Okay,
we really need to wait what Donna would like to have done.
you talked to her at all, Jimmy, or not?
She called me to tell me about it, and I haven't talked with her since. I told her, let me know if anything we can do. We'll do it.
Okay,
But she was at that point, didn't have anything in place and
Yep, yeah.
going forward. So I'll try her, wait till tomorrow. I'll give her a try tomorrow and
okay.
see if there's anything up there. If I can find, if I get any information from her or know what they, as Sandy indicates, what they would prefer in lieu of flowers, then I'll get with Guy and
Okay,
do something. Is that acceptable, Sandy, Peter?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes.
good enough, Jim.
Okay,
Hope she
Alrighty,
doesn't
thank
want
you.
a trip to the Bahamas or something.
well, as long as it's for two, I'll go with her.
Okay, well, that
You
makes
trip
sense.
too
That
much.
certainly makes sense.
Well, I gotta have somebody to catch me when I fall, you know that,
That's it.
at least the first bounce.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, talk about the blind leading the blind.
Hey,
That's true.
you don't have to
Oh,
worry
goodness.
about doing the Biden getting on the plane. You'll have a gangway, not a spare.
True. Okay, our next meeting is the 9th of March. Sandy,
I
could you
make a
fill
motion,
in?
we adjourn.
Oh, Peter's filling in, okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night,
gentlemen.
Everybody, good night, everybody. Be
Thanks,
safe.
Russ.